When you think about corporate cybersecurity, you probably think about, firewalls, maybe encrypted emails, someone frantically patching a server.
The usual suspects.
Exactly. We pour so many resources into protecting that traditional digital perimeter laptops, the cloud, employee phones.
Mhm.
But let me ask you, when was the last time you thought about the cyber health of the office building itself? I mean, the actual physical structure.
The thermostat on the wall, the elevator controller.
The badge reader that lets you in the garage. Yeah. If that sounds like a strange thing to worry about, get ready for a pretty big mindset shift.
It's a huge one.
Our deep dive today is based on some fascinating material showing that this overlooked layer, what we call operational technology, or OT, isn't just a new attack vector. It has become the primary entry point for cyber breaches.
The main way in.
Okay, so let's unpack that. We're diving into the world of building management systems, or BMS, and all those millions of connected IoT devices in a modern smart building.
The smart lighting, the cameras, all of it.
And we're going to figure out why these systems are such high-risk targets, why our normal security tools are totally blind to them, and what needs to be done. The mission today is to understand why securing the building is now, well, a non-negotiable cyber priority.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the whole vulnerability really stems from this historical design choice.
How so?
Building tech HVAC, fire panels, access controls, it was all engineered decades ago for one thing and one thing only:
Uptime.
reliability and uptime. They were never, ever designed to be on a hostile, internet-connected network.
So what this means for you, the person listening, is that a compromise of that building management system isn't just, a data leak.
No, it's a direct threat to safety, to physical operations. You could be looking at power outages, a data center overheating, or just a complete loss of control over your own facility.
And this isn't theoretical anymore.
Not at all. The evidence shows this is actively where attackers are starting.
Historically, these systems flew under the radar. We thought they were safe, right? Maybe they were air-gapped or just not seen as valuable.
Yeah, who's going to hack a thermostat?
But the game has totally changed. Our research is, well, it's unambiguous. The majority of corporate breaches now start with a foothold in that OT or IoT layer.
And what's really fascinating is the reason why is so simple from an attacker's point of view. It's all about access.
Access, how?
These devices, these OT and IoT gadgets, they can't run traditional security software. No endpoint detection and response, no EDR agents.
Ah, so they're invisible.
They are inherently invisible to the very tools companies pay millions for to defend their laptops and servers.
So because they can't be monitored, they become this pristine, clean path for an attacker to move laterally.
It's the digital equivalent of an unlocked side door, exactly. If an attacker gets into a CCTV server, which is almost never monitored,
They can just jump straight from that building network over to the main IT network.
that jump is everything. And often, that CCTV camera, or say a lighting controller, is sitting on the same network segment, the same VLAN, as something critical:
Like a payroll server.
a payroll server, an Active Directory domain controller. For an attacker, it's like walking into a bank's vault by first hacking the vending machine in the lobby. Once you're inside the building's network, you're in the same digital room as the crown jewels.
That is a powerful analogy. The material we looked at breaks down the specific weaknesses into 4 core categories, and they really show why this problem is just so widespread. So let's start with the first one, which is maybe the most shocking. Exposure without realization. I'm talking about systems just sitting on the public internet, wide open.
This is the low-hanging fruit. It's staggering how many of these systems, BMS controllers, DVRs for cameras, badge readers, are just exposed. And they're often still running default credentials.
You mean like admin and password?
Or 1234. We're not talking about complex passwords here.
And the scale of this is just massive. The researchers used tools like Shodan, which is like a search engine for devices, and found hundreds of thousands of these building systems.
Worldwide. Just accessible. You don't have to get past a proxy or anything. You just log in.
So an attacker doesn't need a zero-day exploit. They don't need to send a phishing email.
No, they just run a scan, find a login prompt, and try admin and admin. It's an instant foothold with almost zero effort.
Okay, so weakness number 2 builds right on that. Outdated and unpatchable software.
Right. So once the attacker is in, they find firmware that, in some cases, hasn't seen an update in years, sometimes decades.
Unlike our phones, which get updates constantly.
Exactly. These building systems, they get installed, and they might just run for 10, 15, even 20 years without being touched. And vendors, they often stop supporting these devices long before they're actually taken out of service.
So you have a critical device, maybe it's controlling the temperature in a server room, but it's running software from 2005 that can never be updated.
Which creates a permanent security problem. Any known vulnerability for that old firmware, we call them CVEs, is just permanently exploitable. And if there are hard-coded credentials the vendor put in, you can't even remove them.
Wow. Okay, that leads right to the third weakness, the IT/OT bridge for attackers. This is where the vulnerability turns into, well, a disaster.
This is the pivot. The OT device is just the doorway. The attacker uses that foothold to then scan and map the real target, the corporate IT network.
So they get into a smart light controller.
Or a CCTV camera, and then they use that device's trusted connection to look for more valuable targets. We've seen examples where attackers got in through a smart printer or, I'm not kidding, a smart kettle.
A smart kettle. That is terrifyingly real. It really drives home the point that every single connected device is a potential threat. You're not just securing servers anymore.
You're securing everything that's plugged into the wall.
And the fourth weakness explains why they go to all this trouble: high-value environments.
Precisely. These aren't small-time targets. We're talking about the infrastructure for hospitals, major airports, critical government facilities, universities.
Global supply chains.
Interrupting these places doesn't just cost money. It can threaten patient safety. It can halt a manufacturing line. The impact is immediate and it's physical. That's exactly what a high-stakes attacker wants.
So to really hammer this point home, let's focus on the heart of it all. The building management system, the BMS, that's the real brain of the building, isn't it?
It is. It controls everything from the fire alarms to the fresh air supply. And if a BMS is compromised, the consequences are severe and they're frighteningly physical.
An attacker could basically operate the building against its owners?
They can. They can manipulate air handlers to overheat a data center. They can disable physical security alarms. They can unlock doors across an entire campus.
Or shut down critical cooling systems.
Causing massive, immediate disruption. And they could hide their tracks, too. They could make it look like a simple building fault or an equipment malfunction. So it just looks like an operational problem, not a sophisticated cyber attack.
And here's the kicker, right? Because these BMS networks are often sitting right next to the IT networks.
Where they're loosely connected. A compromise in one very quickly becomes a compromise in the other. The two worlds are totally intertwined now.
It sounds like facility managers and CISOs are finally having to agree on something. Physical risk and cyber risk are the same problem.
They are one and the same.
Okay, so if the risks are this high and the vulnerabilities are so exposed, why haven't our traditional IT security tools fixed this? If you have sophisticated EDR on every laptop, why is the thermostat still wide open?
That brings us to the three fundamental failures of trying to use IT security products in an OT world. They were just designed to solve a completely different problem.
Okay, what's failure number one?
It's the one we touched on earlier. Inability to install endpoint agents. IT security is almost entirely built on having a piece of software, an agent, on the device itself.
But you can't install an agent on a CCTV camera.
Or a smart sensor, or a fire panel, or an HVAC controller. They just don't have the right operating system, or the memory, or the power. They can't support it.
So if your entire security strategy relies on those agents, you're walking into a building where maybe 70 or 80% of the connected devices are completely invisible.
It's like having a security guard who only watches the main front door, while every window, service entrance, and fire exit is just wide open.
That's a perfect analogy. Okay, what's the second hurdle?
The second one is inconsistent or non-existent logs. Even if we could see the devices, a lot of these older OT systems, they produce little to no useful log data.
And when they do?
It's in some weird proprietary format. Your SEM, the tool that's supposed to collect and analyze all your security logs, it can't understand the data coming off a 15-year-old access panel. So even if a device is acting suspiciously, the evidence is just left in translation. Another huge blind spot.
And the third failure sounds like the most important one. It's about the attack itself. Attackers skip malware.
Exactly. The attackers exploiting these buildings, they rarely need to drop a malicious file that an antivirus would flag. They don't need it.
They just use the inherent flaws.
The default credentials, the old vulnerabilities we talked about, abusing normal network protocols to move around. All of these activities happen in the network, between devices, not necessarily on the endpoint itself.
And traditional security is looking for bad files on the endpoint.
So it misses the entire attack chain that's happening right there on the network fabric.
So what does this all mean for, say, a property manager or the CISO or an MSP serving them? It means the belief that your building is secure because your laptops are secure is a dangerous fantasy.
Your security tools are literally looking in the wrong place, leaving the physical backbone of your business completely exposed.
Which means you have to totally change your strategy. Our sources propose moving from that endpoint-centric model to what they call full spectrum security, protecting IT, OT, and IoT altogether.
And since you can't install agents, the solution has to be agentless. It has to be network-centric. This means using passive and active analysis to get full visibility of the network. You need to classify every single device, what it is, what it does, what firmware it's running all, without touching the device itself.
That's the key, isn't it? Passive monitoring. You're just listening to the traffic between systems, what we call east-west traffic.
That's right. Not just what's coming in and out of the building, but how the systems are talking to each other.
And you're looking for weird behavior.
Correct. We're looking for behavioral anomalies. If a camera suddenly starts talking to an IP address in a country it never has before, that's a red flag. If an HVAC controller starts running unusual network commands, that's an anomaly.
So the platform is looking for signs that an attacker is inside and trying to move around.
Operating between devices, which bypasses the whole malware problem. You're not looking for bad files, you're looking for bad behavior.
Like spotting when a building system tries to pivot over to the IT side. That crucial lateral movement.
And this has to be continuous. It requires 247 monitoring of these systems and a rapid response, ideally from a security operations center, a SOC, that actually understands OT environments.
And for any MSPs listening, this whole approach, it has to be built to scale, right? If you're managing a portfolio of 50 office buildings.
Or a huge university campus, you need a multi-tenant architecture that lets you see and manage security across that whole dispersed estate from one central place.
So to sort of synthesize all this, the explosion in these OT and IoT breaches, it's logical.
It makes perfect sense. Attackers are targeting buildings because the devices are old and unpatchable, the security is weaker, the networks are flatter, and crucially, hitting the physical infrastructure has an immediate catastrophic business impact.
The lesson here feels paramount. The MSPs, the facility managers, the CISOs who recognize this shift now, they're the ones who are going to stand out.
Absolutely. The client assumes their physical building is protected. The industry has to prove that security extends beyond the laptop screen.
All the way to the thermostat, the door controller, and the fire panel.
Which leaves us with an important question for you to mull over. If the digital perimeter of a company now demonstrably includes its physical infrastructure, the environmental controls, the power systems, the elevators, how fundamentally does the regulatory and insurance definition of critical infrastructure need to change to catch up with this new reality?